Hey there, it's TJ, the MotorSage here. Got a little bit of a virus this past week and a little bit stuffed up yet. On some medications, but starting to feel a little bit better. Come on the video today to talk to you about a special day that's going on today, the Feast of the Holy Innocents. And in it we mark the death of children in Israel. And as Herod was looking for Jesus as the newborn king so that he might do him in, the three wise men had told Joseph and Mary that Herod was looking to kill the child, so they took him on into Egypt. Now this has come into the news lately. You see, there are several politicians and at least one evangelical Lutheran Church in America bishop who has compared the children of the immigrants that are trying to get into the United States and the recent loss of one of those children, unfortunately, and sadly down in custody of the U.S. Border Patrol. And they've compounded that with a statement that, the immigrants coming to the United States, just like Joseph and Mary taking the baby Jesus to Egypt. Well, I hear what they're saying, but it's not quite the same. You see, Joseph and Mary took off when probably Jesus was 3 to maybe 5 or 6 years old. They were warned by the wise men that Herod was looking for Jesus, and they decided to take him and themselves to Egypt. And Egypt wasn't a barren place. You see, they most likely headed for the Jewish community that had been long established in Alexandria, Egypt. Now, Alexandria, you might well know, is along the delta area of the Egyptian country. And it was well established, and probably Joseph went there as a carpenter, a maker of wooden plows, and being in a rich agricultural area, his skill would be quite heavily needed there. So I don't believe that first they were an immigrant because there were no borders. It was all under the auspices of the Roman Empire, and if there was any border checks at all, it would seem that they would go right on through. Second of all, that makes it so that there are no such thing as illegal immigrants as far as they were concerned. And they were only there for a very short period of time, and they returned back to Nazareth and settled in there. So you see, everything that's being hollered about, and trying to apply this situation to the immigrant situation and the illegal immigration that's going on in the United States is a misnomer. It just doesn't apply. So keep that in mind as you hear the gospel lesson that is read today for you. So just follow up and watch this video and maybe learn something new. Hear this from the Holy Gospel according to St. Matthew. Now when they, the wise men, had departed, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream and said, Rise, take the child and his mother and flee to Egypt, and remain there till I tell you. For Herod is about to search for the child to destroy him. And he rose and took the child and his mother by night and departed to Egypt, and remained there until the death of Herod. This was to fulfill what the Lord had spoken by the prophet, Out of Egypt I have called my son. Then Herod, when he saw that he had been tricked by the wise men, was in a furious rage, and he sent and killed all of the male children in Bethlehem, and all that region who were 2 years old or under, according to the time which he had ascertained from the wise men. Then was fulfilled what was spoken by the prophet Jeremiah. A voice was heard in Ramah, wailing and loud lamentation, Rachel weeping for her children. She refused to be consoled because they were no more. But when Herod died, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph, saying, Rise, take the child and his mother, and go to the land of Israel, for those who sought the child's life are dead. And he rose and took the child with his mother and went to the land of Israel. But when he heard that Archelaus reigned over Judea in the place of his father Herod, he was afraid to go there. And being warned in a dream, he withdrew to the district of Galilee. He went and dwelt in a city called Nazareth, that was spoken by the prophets might be fulfilled. He should be called a Nazarene. The Holy Gospel of our Lord. Thanks be to God. Amen. One question that is always asked whenever we read this lesson, and so much so that there are many pastors and theologians that kind of want to sidestep and hold back from even addressing the scene, is the death of what the church for centuries has called the Holy Innocents. Well, Holy Innocents is a legalistic term made by humanity, and not the classification that possibly God put upon those children. You see, those children were not innocent. Now, that might seem like it's a radical and hard thing to say, but it's the truth. St. Paul in the book of Romans said, For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. So that means there's an inclusivity there. All have sinned. It means a child is born into sin and is sinful. And because we are all sinful, we are deserving of the penalty of death, of being disobedient to God's instructions and being ignorant of God's love. Well, when we consider what happened in Israel so long ago, the death of so many because of the power maddened and hungry for revenge and vengeance King Herod, we find that, this is something that goes on around the world, in both civilized and countries that are considered to be backward. In countries in the Middle East today, we find both men, women, and children being murdered because of their faith. We find in many Muslim countries, Christians have been persecuted. And we also find, even with this country, within all faiths, we find a drastic and horrible slaughter of children goes on each and every day. Somewhere in the number of over 3,000 children are murdered, not even coming out of the womb. So when we say, how can God do this thing? Let's not be pointing fingers. It is not God who does these things. It is the human beings and their societies that do these things. For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. and we rest only on the righteousness of Christ for our salvation. Thanks be to God.